Hello, I'm James Walday, and I'm with Gloma, which is made up of,
Cleo.
And George.
and we're going to do a very special interview today, going through the kind of band's brief history and also listening through their debut album, Nirvana Sumac. We're currently recording this at Northbrook College for the Northbrook College radio station, and I'm a student at Northbrook, a props degree student at Northbrook, and you guys are on the music course,
Yes.
and you met through there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess starting off, I could ask, how did the band begin?
I'll probably say this. So the band started as a solo project, just with me. So my previous band, Petrol, had just split up, and I had a bunch of songs which I had left over, which I hadn't ever taken to them, which I wanted to do because I was getting into hardcore punk at the time. So I started off just using MIDI drums and recording guitar over them, and then eventually recorded actual drums. Went through a few different drummers trying to find one, and then so on all the demos, so Glum and then Scratching at the Walls, that's actually not George's drumming. Those are some of the earlier drummers that I was playing with, trying to figure out who fit.
Yeah.
And George was in my class last year, and we just started jamming, and I asked him to join, and he did. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
History.
And so you've been going for about a year now, is that right?
I
Or
think
just
so.
over a year?
Probably about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in terms of the style, was Petrol a lot different to what Gloma is?
Petrol was very strongly sort of post-punk. We did like a lot of very experimental stuff, but we didn't really have a definitive style, as most like first-time bands. You know, we didn't really have it all figured out. But yeah, so near the end, Petrol was going towards punk, and then it quit right as it was getting heavier.
Right.
So I had a bunch of heavier songs left over.
And how long were you in Petrol for then?
Ooh.
Well, it was
Maybe
probably from, because we all kind of made our own little bands at the start of the first year.
Yeah, we'd have started
And
in
then-
September.
Yeah. And then, when did we form? Like, March, wasn't it? Last year? It was alright. It was around that time.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's when Petrol kind of ended.
Yeah.
So with the name, is there any significance behind that? Like, what inspired that name? Because I know, of course, the spelling's changed, but the original...
Yeah, so I mean, the spelling change, to be fair, if there's another band up north who do metal under
Yeah.
the exact
Right, I
same
see,
name,
yeah,
Gloma, and they have red and sort of white colour scheme
Got
and
it,
everything,
yeah.
which I swear to God we did not know about
Oh, yeah.
until like about like a month or two
'Cause
in.
We were searching up just Gloma on Spotify.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
came up and it was like,
We've had similar things with like photo shoots before, where we've had photos from photo shoots like months before, and then another band randomly just uploads with like similar poses, similar sort of locations. We're literally dealing with that right now because we did a photo shoot a week ago to promote our new release Rapture, and then literally I think like yesterday or something, another band uploaded photos with like some of the exact same
Oh,
poses.
really? I didn't see that.
It's frustrating sometimes.
It's
mean,
frustrating, but
If you can get one original thing, though, that is solely original to yourself, I feel
Yeah.
like that means...
it's different enough. We're still uploading it because it's a cool pose.
Because a significant thing about when you go see you guys live is you wear masks. Like, when did that come in and how did it emerge?
Well, you came with the idea of the masks, and I thought it was quite cool because we have a heavy inspiration from Slipknot.
Of course, yeah.
So it's quite cool to kind of do a similar sort of thing, I guess. Yeah. I don't really know how the design of like the balaclavas and stuff came around.
I don't really know either. I mean, so I made my mask like it was before a factory gig, not like immediately before a factory gig, but it was like a week or something before a factory gig. I don't know what the inspiration for it was. I literally just had like a spare beanie lying around, which was like too big for my like head, but slightly too small for my whole
right.
head.
Yeah,
So like that was my old mask. It would just like sit very comfortably right on my jawline, and then whenever I'd sing, like opening my mouth. It
Right,
would,
so you're
like,
basically sitting
ride up my
under
face.
it. Yeah.
So it ended up like blinding me on stage because the mask would like slowly
Yeah.
move up my thing and it would cover my eyes. There's photos we have from the old courthouse gig that we played with BYC, where you just can't see my eyes. Like the holes are just my eyebrows are just
Yeah.
poking through.
Well,
But yeah, so Slipknot was an inspiration for that, and then also Sleep Token.
right.
I was getting into Sleep Token a lot at the time. I wanted to do like something more interesting with it than just turn like a beanie into a balaclava. So I just got an old shoelace which I had
Yeah.
lying around, which like I had not used. And then I like threaded it through the mask. And then when I went to make my current mask, which I actually have with me, I used the same shoelace, but I cut it up into smaller pieces, and I used it to make knots
All right. Awesome.
all
Yeah.
over.
Like almost
So-
like threading.
Yeah, so the knots I've kind of done in like that sort of
Yeah.
pattern.
Yeah.
And then I tried mimicking George's a little bit by using, because George's
for
has
the
had
mouth.
the
Yeah,
mouth
yeah.
thing. I used safety pins for that.
Yeah, so I've got mine here. So I've got the...
Is that paint on the?
Yeah, so I've obviously got the... This is kind of almost like a signature thing. So I had this on the old one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of got inspiration from Jay Weinberg of Slipknot, because he has a
Right.
similar sort of thing on the
Got
mouth.
it. Yeah.
It's not like the crosses, but...
Oh yeah.
and then, yeah, so this is just acrylic paint. I kind of got inspiration from like tribal, like,
Yeah,
or, like,
yeah.
war paint.
Yeah.
Sepultura.
Yeah, exactly. Because I love Sepultura. They're kind of like Brazilian metal band.
Yeah.
And one of their albums has a lot of like
Tribal influence.
Yeah.
Like they literally went. I think they literally met with tribes and like
Yeah.
learned their
Alright,
rhythms
wow.
and stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of got inspiration from that. So and it's quite a cool feature, I think.
Yeah.
And
It
then
looks
it's
really
got-
good.
I just added the safety pins for.
So you kind of brushed on this a tiny bit, but what is the time frame? When did you start writing the songs? Because of course you said you had all these.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
I didn't have all of them. So I had. Actually, it's easier for me to say the ones I didn't have. I didn't have Gossamer. I had none of the soft ones. None of the
Right.
shoegaze ones were written. I didn't have Glum or Grump. I didn't have Fire Starting, or Fire.
Did you have? I don't think you had death.
Um,
did you?
I didn't have Anger or Death.
What about Alien?
Yeah.
Alien I had.
So there's only a few.
Alone
that-
I had as well. And yeah.
Like when did you start writing all those? Was it just in your spare time? Just
So yeah, no, so I'd literally just go home and write as much as I possibly could. So the so Glum, for example, I wrote after possibly the best gig I've ever been to, actually, which was the B-Fest, where the BYC building closed down.
right.
And the energy there was absolutely insane. And I remember being just inspired by a lot of the bands, how heavy it was. And I'd never really tried writing anything like super
Right,
heavy
yeah.
or like dissonant at all. I'd tried
Yeah.
like making things with traditional chords, so
Got it,
I
yeah, yeah.
literally went home, and I didn't have. I remember basically coming home absolutely wired from the gig because I had so much energy and like I wanted the gig to keep going and it stopped. So
Yeah.
I came home so energetic at like midnight, just sat on a mattress on the floor with an acoustic guitar, with my pink acoustic guitar. And I just found the first dissonant interval
Yeah.
that I could, which is the first two notes of Glum.
Really?
And I just
Wow,
I
that's
worked
awesome.
with that and then just moved it around and ended up writing it with all the chords and stuff.
The name of the album, where did that come from? Nirvana and Sumac.
Okay, so I'm Buddhist, so
Right.
Nirvana is obviously a key concept in
Of course, yeah,
Buddhism,
yeah.
and then sumac is just one of my favorite spices.
Hmm.
So I wanted to
Brilliant,
have
yeah.
something a bit. I wanted to have it like be one thing which is like a really complicated, complex idea, and then
So
something
simple.
which is so simple, which is
Yeah.
just like I just like the spice.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's brilliant, actually, going into, because I mean, I'm going to be honest, even me, to begin with, you first hear it and you think of the band, of course,
Yeah.
but it's really interesting when you say it from that
Yeah, yeah.
perspective. It's a lot.
I also found that there's a band called Sumac as well who do experimental metal. Surprisingly, until like I brought up the name of the album to other people while I was thinking of calling it, I genuinely didn't. It didn't cross my mind that actually there's a band called Nirvana. It genuinely didn't cross my mind until I mentioned it to Jake from Unorthodox, and he said, bro thinks he's Nirvana, or bro thinks he's
very
Kurt
Jake,
Cobain,
very Jake.
something like that.
But you just got to carry on going with it. Yeah, exactly.
Because I liked it too much, and because I'd already named the EP and scheduled the EP as Khandas and Khandas, which Khandas is another Buddhist concept.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in too deep now. Gotta just
go with it. You know, it's
yeah.
a concept. Yeah, but and then going off the kind of the album at first glance. Of course, the cover's changed on Spotify, but the original cover, what is that? I'm quite interested because it's essentially, I'll describe it to people listening. It's 2 lines and then 2 diamonds in between.
Yeah.
And what is that? Because your other 2, are they all done in charcoal?
They're all charcoal drawings that I did.
So with Anger, it was face.
Anger was the face of the sort of like anguish and anger.
And then Death was a bone.
Death was a bone. That's relatively self-explanatory.
Okay, Carnals and Carnals, what's that?
Khandas on Khandas is a flower. That actually does link back to a Buddhist story, the flower sermon, which I don't know if me reciting it would do it justice, but to anyone interested in it, if you look up the flower sermon in Buddhism, it explains the whole story. It's a sort of, if I'm interpreting it correctly, it's a sort of story about accepting just the inherent beauty in something so simple as just a flower, and how the sort of appreciation of that is complexity enough to appreciate. But yeah, so that's just a flower. And then do you remember what because I remember.
Well,
do you remember what the album one was?
Yeah,
meaning?
it was because we had a strong thing with eyes, didn't we?
Yeah.
So like,
the original logo was your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure. I mean, you made it, but I'm pretty sure it's just kind of a representation of that.
Yeah, it was just meant to be like a
simplified
rough sketch of because it was literally just a bar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah.
it honestly is a great cover in the sense of, at first glance, you have no idea what it is.
Yeah, stuff always, in terms of mixing with music, things always take way longer than you think they will.
Yeah, literally.
Or the opposite, they'll take way less time than you think they will. Nirvana and Sumac took me about 2 weeks to mix.
Seriously?
I thought it was going to take me months. So I did this for my final major project last year, and I remember turning to my teacher about 4 weeks into the 12-week process.
That's crazy.
Yeah, about 12 weeks, 10, 12 weeks. I remember turning to my teacher about 4 or 5 weeks in and just being like, I'm done. And he was like, you're not done. Keep working. You're getting a distinction. Or like, do more, please. Because you can't just be sitting around for the rest of this. So I figured out ways to entertain myself or do stuff. So what I did was, that was the original Nirvana and Sumac, actually. That was the one which had the old drummers on it. So that was before George was in the band. It was before I had my baritone. So that
wasn't that the tracks labelled as demos? Do we still have them on?
What, scratching off the effing walls? Was that?
Yeah, we have. So
Bare Bones and Raw, right?
No. So it would literally have been an entire album of songs mixed and sounding like scratching, but I finished mixing it in about 2 weeks, and for the quality of the recordings, it wasn't that bad of a mix. However, I wasn't happy with the quality of the recordings, and George had joined.
So
to re-record. Got it. You might as well. Yeah.
Bare Bones and Raw is the alternate release of Nirvana and Sumac on our Bandcamp page, and it's full of original mixes with the final recordings. So it's the same recordings as the official release,
just different mixes.
Earlier different mixes.
And there's some interesting changes I found with those.
Yeah.
But I think we might get into listening to the album now.
Yeah.
So we're starting off with Fire Starting now, which essentially is a spoken word, and I'm interested because it perfectly, and honestly, the first time I heard this, I lost my mind when I heard Fire Starting go into fire perfectly. What came first? Was it the spoken word or was it the song?
It was originally one song.
so
Right.
I think
Fire starting was just the intro to Fire.
yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So-
we
Yeah.
talked about it a little bit actually. We went back and forth on it, but I remember we decided to split it into 2 separate songs, and then so I did a lot of round of mixing on this one. The final recordings didn't take super long to mix, but it did take a bit long. So it took about 3 weeks maybe compared to the original 3 or 4 weeks or something. And the rest of them are the 4th mixes. So the rest of the album is mix number 4. However, Fire Starting is mix number 3 because I finished that on the 3rd one. However, that meant that Fire actually has different guitar tone to
Right.
Fire Starting. So I remember listening to it, and because I didn't have it on like Spotify yet, I can't
Yeah.
like preview it on Spotify.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it when it came out on Spotify because that was the first time I was able to test
Right,
the transition
wow.
between it, and
Yeah.
it was fine, but it wasn't as smooth as it would have
As-
been if
yeah.
I'd done a 4th mix, and it irked me
Mm.
a little.
It's gonna happen when you're
Yeah.
the person making it. It's always gonna.
Yeah. It was all right though actually.
I mean, also this was the first song I saw you guys play. I saw it at the factory. I think it was around about April, so I was thinking
Yeah,
quite early
something
on.
like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing because often albums have intros, and then this I think works perfectly as the album's intro.
Yeah. I
Thank
think,
you.
Well, I think we got the inspiration from a lot of the Slipknot albums. 'Cause
That's it.
that was it.
That's
Um,
what I was thinking of.
I was on
Yeah.
pretty much. I think it's every album they have a intro track.
Of course, yeah.
This one was 515. So 515
Yeah.
is the intro track to Iowa, and it has a harmonic sliding thing. However, it has one going in both directions at the same time. I wanted to do it a bit simpler, but
Yeah, so that's kind of where we got the inspiration to do an intro track from. I haven't listened to some ages.
When was the last time you think you both listened to it?
A while ago. I haven't listened to the whole thing, to be fair. I've listened to like songs, but yeah, I love when that guitar comes in.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
I don't know if we recorded this in, but when I play it live, I play on the ride cymbal.
Right.
And like the bell and stuff, just trying to get that more ambient sound.
Yeah, I really like how kind of slightly abstract this first bit is.
Yeah.
Really, honestly.
it's a bit timeless.
Yeah.
We weren't going for like a time signature.
Exactly. And then the rhythm it's going to get into in a second
Yeah.
works so well.
Oh, it's not got gatless playback. Oh,
Well, you can imagine it's
Yeah.
pretty good, but I mean this riff in general is just it's a real kind of groove, if you know what I'm saying. It's just yeah.
There's a fire beneath us. It's reaching for the moon. There's a fear of governance. Quenching laws and policies. There's a fire beneath us. Beneath the marginalized. For anyone above all. Without once we shout.
Yeah, you can tell just when I just started learning double bass.
All right, yeah.
oh yeah.
You can kind of hear it in the background, but it's not in the forefront.
That's because I wasn't very good at mixing the kick drum.
But-
I would have added more higher.
The main thing that really, when I listened to this, that really took me back is the fire. Because you'd expect it to be like fire,
That's what
but
it originally was, but
Exactly, yeah.
I thought like
The difference.
What would be cooler is to completely subvert people's expectations.
Exactly.
And just go for something
it's so-
softer.
it's still really angry, but still like more.
Yeah.
It honestly, it is one of my favorite kind of like little details of the album because it does what it really well, as you say.
Yeah, I thought if I was whispering and I added like a lot, because it's really quiet, it's whispering, I can afford to add so much distortion to it. I was thinking it could sound like fizzling or like when you strike a match almost.
Right, sick.
So that was kind of the thoughts behind it. Oh, that was a wrong note there that I kept in.
Yeah, you can kind of hear like the double kicks like not fine. Almost like swung.
I mean, to my ignorant ears of music, you know, it sounds really good.
The swing I liked.
There's also something about the tone of the guitar with that kind of riff. I don't know what it is, but it just
It's like
really good though.
Oh, if we pause it here, it's for me, it's kind of like a almost like perfect sort of ugliness, I guess. Cause
Yes, I know what you mean.
I was using. So my guitar is Harley Benton made, who they do really, really good bodies, but the electronics in the guitar are notoriously not great. I was using
Was that the same guitar you used for the?
Yeah.
Did you have your baritone then?
Yeah, it was this guitar, but it's changed so much since recent recordings. It was tuned in drop A, so so baritone standard. So a baritone guitar is slightly longer and lower tuned. It's tuned down by a perfect fifth to a normal guitar, and then I drop tuned it as well so that I could play power chords easier. So I was using it stock P90s, which are not the sort of pickups you would usually use with distortion. You would usually use humbuckers, but P90s give it a really glassy sort of rounded tone, so it works really, really well for the softer tracks on here.
Yeah.
So I could never achieve like the tone on something like Longing or Gossamer anymore because I don't have P90s in my.
So it's almost like a different version now at this point.
Yeah. So if anyone listening has ever watched us play Gossamer live, we always play it like usually at the end of the set. It's a very different tone.
I mean, we have the newer version out anyway.
Oh yeah, so the newer version, the newer version uses the pickups I've currently got in it. What does it? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't.
Does it have the death?
No, it's got the death bucker. So I had there's a pickup company called Illumitone who do very interesting pickups because they're not based on, most pickups have poles, so you see like the dots in them. Illumitone pickups are based on aluminium. They're based on current, so they actually run flat underneath the strings. And I had one called a death bucker, which gives it a really weird tone. But but now I've got very different pickups. Almost homemade, but not quite homemade.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much homemade guitar.
Home mashed up.
Yeah.
But so the tone is literally really bad stock P90 pickups and really bad fuzz pedals.
Okay, so the next track is Shame, and this was something you released on Scratching on the Effing Walls.
Yeah.
And it was always like, I'm not being critical in any way, but it was always the one that it was my least favourite on that EP, and I was a really big fan of that EP when it came out.
It was more metal inspired.
And this is the thing though, because when I listened to it on the album for the first time, and I have a very vivid memory of listening to, because I listened to it all in one go, the opening to Shame completely changed my opinion.
Yeah,
this opening is really original.
Much more produced than
it's a lot different than, I think it's one of the most changed ones from that EP, I felt like.
Probably, yeah, actually. Other than like the tempo change on Alone, because Alone on the EP.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Fast.
We'll get that into a second because that's interesting. That is.
So what this is me with distortion on my guitar, tapping the back of the neck of the guitar like that, or like that, and it creates this sort of thing, slow build up.
I think this is one of my favourites on the album.
So.
What is that sound? That whole drone that comes in? Because that is amazing.
So that is a double-stopped harmonic on my guitar with
Right.
distortion, which I've absolutely blasted through reverb, and I turned the freeze reverb on, so it just could hold on to it.
It really, it's really atmospheric as well.
I use it again in the in the solo, but I turned
of
the
course,
freeze on.
Shame up, fucking shame. I move my fucking brains out, veins out, but I ain't a fucking same. Yeah. Fucking
Really like the rhythm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like the addition. I'm
Yeah.
mainly Lord on the first.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah, which is quite detailed. Let's switch it up from just the normal.
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
beat.
fucking shame.
Oh yeah, triplet sort of feel. Yeah, I like this bit.
When George figured out this drum pattern here, it was like so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the freeze on the reverb is on here, and then it turns off there, so it's just reverb.
Yeah, I also like all the switches between kind of half time and then like normal time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. I mean, honestly, like that whole bit as well, not having any vocals. I literally just have here great solo. My notes are shame.
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
the switch between halftime and normal time quite a lot. We do it again on Alien.
And Alone as well.
Maybe I think on Alone.
I think near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, if we pause here. Yeah, no, that whole song. So the whole concept for, I didn't produce it properly. If I had produced it the way I first imagined it, or my first imaginings of it, it would have been a very, very different album. But I don't know if this might ring bells for you. But so the original name for the album was going to be "There's a Riot Somewhere in the UK."
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So the original concept for it was a concert taking place in the middle of a riot.
Right, so it's going to be a
So-
concept album originally.
So it was going to be a concept album. I was going to have each song fade into crowd noise, and the crowd would slowly get more and more aggravated and throwing bottles and fighting. I didn't end up doing that because I couldn't find. I didn't know sampling copyright. I didn't know
Exactly,
how
yeah.
to sample.
Yeah.
Because I was very early on into my knowledge of mixing.
Yeah.
But so that's where a lot of the political messaging comes from. And then the end of it with all the softer songs, they actually weren't part of the concept, but I
course,
really
yeah.
wanted to add them in.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of there. But so a lot of obviously there's a spoken word and Fire starting,
Yeah,
which is
of
very,
course.
very political.
Exactly.
Fire has pretty much the same lyrics as Fire starting. And I always imagined it as kind of like a Fire of London type thing, but
Yeah,
instead of like an accident, it's like on purpose.
Yeah.
And then Shame is actually about suicide, and it's about governmental attitudes towards suicide, as in blaming the individual rather than the institution
Right.
that they've been sort of raised
Yeah.
in. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these songs I didn't realize what I was writing them about
Yeah.
until afterwards, and then
That's
I'd
some of the
read back
best
on my lyrics.
stuff. Is like
Yeah.
it's the. I think my favorite stuff with any kind of art or anything is like surface level. It's it's a genre film or something like this, but then when you look
Yeah.
deeper into it, it's actually got a hidden message, and those are the best things.
Yeah,
to
and
say.
then when you kind of find out what it means, you can kind of
Completely
it's
different
like listening
perspective.
to it again,
Yeah,
almost,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah, it's
quite
brilliant.
cool.
Yeah, I what I also found quite funny is a lot of people I don't think realize what Shame is about. But it's quite funny to me because it's not very subtle. I mean, like I blew
Yeah.
my brains out is like one of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And it's always one that like because I've been to a couple of gigs, everyone's like yeah. It's
Yeah,
like it's
but,
like
yeah,
real
no.
good party song, guys. Yeah. So next one is Anger. So this was this your first proper single?
Second single.
Second, because Death was first.
Death was first. This was the second one.
Yeah.
We debuted this at Audioactive at a Battle of the Bands. No. Was it It was either Battle of the Bands or it was Truth to Power.
I think it was. I don't know what it was, but I remember they had some dodgy cymbal stands. And I was playing this I think it's this song. And it was the
Yeah. The fills.
And
Yeah.
one of the cymbal stands broke when I was playing that. and it was not nice.
Didn't it like fold back?
Yeah, so I couldn't play the sim properly, so I had to like play it on one. And
I think it was Battle of the
It was-
Bands because I remember Written and Red were playing.
yeah, I think it was about Truth to Power. We've only done one of them.
Gloma's only done one of
Yeah,
them. I
you
did
did,
one in Petrol.
Oh, you did. Oh, got it. Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Truth
to Power is great. Shout out Audioactive, music charity for young people. I was quite inspired by Hysteria by Muse for this.
Yeah, I know what you're saying with that. Actually, yeah.
That's where a lot of the harmonics come from.
Oh yeah, right there. That's,
Yeah, Matt Bellamy from Muse does a lot of harmonic stuff.
I love the. Goes into
Yeah.
that. I love the chugging here. I always mind it like.
Yeah, I really like this verse because I do like some open hi-hat stuff. And sort of,
Already behind. I breathe the night. And watch
So the lyrics here are kind of about like watching the fire which is going on, carrying on from fire.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And just being angry about it.
we're angry.
Phil was there, brilliant. And that's where it
that's very
Yeah,
very
we
well.
had
went wrong.
in the chorus we have like me saying I'm angry and then gang vocals come in when it says we're angry, as in like the crowd behind it, but it's meant to reflect the sort of crowd attitude in the
Yeah.
the original concept of it.
Because I can imagine a crowd writing to Gone wouldn't really.
A crowd writing to something like this would maybe work.
Yeah. And one thing I really do like about this album, and like, because I love listening to just albums always, is the track list. I think it works perfectly. I think honestly every single song has its own place. Did you work on a lot of trying to work out how you wanted?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking about the ordering of the songs because I also listen by album.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, you don't do playlists?
I have playlists, but I mainly listen by album. That's when I'm first exposing myself to a new artist. I'll listen
Gotta
through
do that.
through albums.
Don't do best of.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought about it.
We're angry. I'm angry. We're angry.
Love that higher bit
Yeah,
there.
the top, it's so good there.
That whole thing again of like the beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's so many mistakes in all of the recordings, but I knew they were there and I kept them in on purpose because
Good.
I wanted it to be
That kind of
an
rough.
accurate representation.
Exactly. And that's the thing I genuinely love about this album a lot. It's got that raw feeling, but it's so well produced.
Yeah, I'm not. What I go into it thinking is I'm not trying to give people a perfect rendition of a blend.
Exactly,
I'm trying
because
to give them
that's
an
boring.
accurate
To have
rendition
something
of it.
perfect is
Yeah, I'm trying to give them an accurate rendition of it. It's
something
like-
that's human. So.
At the time, I was not a particularly good guitarist, and I could not accurately play each song each time. If I wanted to get a perfect take of a song, I would have to keep doing it. So I went with. I was sort of inspired by Prince's work ethic. But a little bit more lenient. He used every single first take. He never did second takes. I did 3 takes and then picked the best one, and I didn't cut it up and split it. I just
Perfect.
picked the best one. We do it slightly differently now because moving into metalcore, you have to be a bit more technical with it.
Right.
And also because I'm a better guitarist now than I was at that, so I can comfortably record to a better
you know you can do
standard.
it. So
Yeah.
And also for this album, we recorded in the same room, so we were playing at the same
Yeah.
time. So
yeah. So it's got that live feel to it.
yeah. So
really
if
good.
you made a mistake, we kind of had to
Yeah.
start all over or
Yeah.
anything.
This next track, I think we should talk about the history of it in terms of the different versions. It's Alone.
Alone, yeah,
So on Scratching at the Effing Wolves, it's very fast.
really fast.
Really fast.
It's above 200 BPM. I think it's something like
Wow.
220 BPM.
And it was always my favourite song of yours until Carnals and Carns came out.
Yeah, it was insanely fast. And it wasn't like a conscious decision to make it slower. It just kind of happened.
Was that me drumming? That was
No, the original The original alone was Liam from
Yeah.
Unorthodox.
All right, wow.
So, I mean, he could manage it because Unorthodox were at the time doing all their hardcore stuff. They were releasing Brain Dead, I
Yeah.
think, nearish
Yep.
the time.
Oh yeah, and that's very.
Which is very fast. So he got on with it. It was originally, this is crazy, but originally the drumming on all of Gloma's stuff was going to be Jake. I approached Jake
What?
first to do
Wow.
drumming because I wanted to go for a Meg White sort of vibe where it
Oh
was
right.
not a drummer drumming. But then he got into the studio and he did the first 2 takes. He found the metronome really difficult, crashed out and left. And so Liam.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know you.
But yeah, no, Liam really thankfully was there helping, and he said, "I'll pop in." All of the demos are Liam drumming, and then all of the official releases are George drumming. This was like we used to refer to this as like the Everlong thing, didn't we?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's kind of
has
got
the
that
same
riff.
sort of
Yeah, yeah.
intro as, especially on the drums. Yeah. Man, I haven't listened to this one in a
We should
while.
re-record this but faster.
Yeah.
Back to the beginning. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
'cause this is more like kind of what we do now.
If I was scared,
Almost.
Oh, I love this bit here. Wait.
you touch my heart.
There's a little bit of
There's a-
distortion. Yeah. The background's brilliant.
Be a better place. If I
I do it every single time actually, it's just a bit parody.
stayed all day long, now that you drug me home, you're probably
That's just one more.
my best friend. She let me see.
I'm glad I used the crash cymbal more in this because on some of the other songs
She said
there's bits where I could use the crash cymbal but I just stay on the hi-hat instead.
Right,
I feel like
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
sound as heavy as it could be.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
this one I'm quite proud of.
And you want to create some variants as well. Great. So.
This was the first solo I ever wrote in my life.
Really?
Yeah, first solo I've ever written in my life, and it took me 20 takes to get that because I didn't want to be shitty with this one. I wanted the solo to be good because I liked it. This ending bit here though was improvised, and if I could go back, I would have changed the chords behind it to match it
Right.
a bit better. But luckily, it sounds like I did anyway a little bit.
I also love the lyrics on this one. It's got that.
Yeah, I
Really?
always Prime is my best friend. I always pick like before I joined, and you had this written. I was always like such like a unique.
It's
Yeah.
it's very inspired by I recently found out about the existence of the halftime. It was the verses are complete nonsense, but the chorus was very inspired by. I'd recently found out about the existence of a charity in London, which I can't remember the name of really, unfortunately. But what they do is they get because loneliness rates in like UK elderly are like it's something like 75-80% of people above the age of like 70, I think, say that they're really lonely in their lives. So what the charity did was. And so the same thing is happening like teenage people with the rise of the internet and stuff. People
Yeah.
being
It's
much more alone.
like it's weird. It's like a reverse.
Yeah.
It's like by having access to everyone, you're also
cutting,
it's really weird.
cutting
It's
yourself
really
off from
weird.
everyone. So there's this charity in London which what they do is they're like a matchmaking charity. They find a
Right.
teen who's really lonely
Yeah.
and an elderly person who's
Right.
really lonely, and they match up, and they every month or so they meet up in like a big hall and they have tea, play board games and stuff, and it was really nice. So the sort of song, the sentiment of the song is the idea of sort of being left behind as you get older.
Yeah.
Sort of slowly losing people around you and getting lonelier and being alone in the end. But yeah, bit depressing, but
It's a really good song, honestly.
it's one of my favorites. songs.
Yeah.
Now listening to it back, I think that's probably
Yeah.
definitely up there.
Yeah, I mean,
One of my
yeah. In
favourites.
terms of if I'm doing a tier list on the songs of this, it's definitely up there with. Some,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Alien.
so this one I feel like definitely I want to ask in terms of the meaning behind the lyrics because I think they're a really significant one, and I genuinely love them just from the fact of there's a lot that you can infer of your own, what it might mean to someone, but I feel like anyone can kind of just go into the ideas of alienation.
So so alienation was like a massive sort of like issue that I struggled with before coming to college, actually.
Yeah.
When I wrote this song during college, I wasn't struggling with it so bad, because I met a lot of people that were like-minded, who I got on with really well, and it also who I didn't know previously, and none of them had known me previously, so it was like a complete fresh start. But so when I wrote the song, I didn't relate to it so much. However, other people that I was friends with related to it. Obviously, general feelings of alienation, feeling like that, this sort of like alienation and xenophobia, which is like completely smeared all over the UK's like immigration policies as well, and like people in government and immigration officers too often are like happy and like eager to jump to the conclusion of like they must be like trying to do harm, they must be criminals, because they've broken the law once to get into a country. That means they must be criminal in nature, rather than just coming at it from a more realistic standpoint of they're just trying to preserve their own lives. So yeah, it's again a lot of political messaging, but also partly inspired by a personal experience.
Oh, that little bit there, it always gets.
One of the first songs I remember playing.
Yeah.
What is that sound? I gotta ask, what is that sound?
That is a noise gated, super bit crushed snare. So that stops like there. The snare, I literally just doubled the snare track, pushed it through a bit crusher, so that's how you get like 8-bit sound and stuff.
Honestly.
And you get crazy feedback from it, and then I noise gated it, so anything I really pointed, it shows a specific threshold. What a noise gate does is basically anything under a certain volume gets completely silenced. So if you get it at a specific volume, just where it's sort of like on the cusp, it sort of like flickers in between. I still do that to this day. I use that in all my production stuff.
Awesome, honestly.
It's really, really cool, especially with a build-up like the snare.
And it's one of my favourite details. Because it's not at the forefront originally. In the background, you just notice it. Those are my favourite things.
I was thinking of like alien telecommunication.
Yeah, brilliant, yeah. Really good, like powerful angle.
Yeah, also going in and out of the half-time and stuff there as well.
This is literally just me like playing random stuff.
And this moment in a second is one of my favourite moments. So unexpected. You guys know it's coming out. And you don't often do it live, I know.
Wait, is it? Hold on.
This.
And in a second, it's the.
Yeah, so. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was actually a mistake when we were recording it.
Brilliant, honestly.
So I messed up the track.
Oh, it's so good.
But we kept doing it because it
sounds
really
so good. I love it. Every single time I listen to that, it makes me happy.
I just thought, like, what can I scream in the middle of this that makes sense? And
That's brilliant. Brilliant moment, by the way. Honestly, absolutely love it. But do you not do that live though?
No.
Not really,
because it doesn't really work, does it?
Yeah, it was kind of in the moment.
Yeah, not the same energy. Yeah, it really does.
Again, it's about like catching people off guard. Sort of
yeah,
doing what
brilliant, subverting it, and that's again what I love about this album. It's why.
Right, this song. Death.
Oh yeah, we should probably.
Oh yes.
An iconic song.
This is an iconic song. This was the first single we released for this.
Yeah.
It's we used this to open every single show we did.
Yeah, pretty
while we
much.
were
Does
promoting the
it
album.
has the Floor Tom section at the start.
Yeah,
which is
the
quite-
build up. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was again, the lyrics were quite inspired by Slipknot, but the topic of it was the war in Gaza had literally started, or not started because it's been going for ages, but it
Escalating.
had started escalating
Yeah.
again near to when I was writing this, and yeah, so there's a lot of lyrics from the perspective of
Yeah. I mean,
people in Gaza.
what I love about it is, once again, it's deep but without specifying it. So
Yeah.
it becomes timeless essentially. For
Yeah.
you, it's what it is in the moment, but for everyone else, they can relate it to
Yeah.
things that happen in the future. Because I always remember the lyrics really stuck with me. The I live and die in this room. I live and die in this room.
Yeah.
I'll never leave this room. I'll never leave this room.
Yeah, because I was literally thinking like there were literal like children
Yeah,
who
literally.
had been born, hadn't seen outside of their
Yeah.
hospital room, and then their lives were snuffed out. So I wanted to. I don't know. I didn't really know what there was that I could do. So I was thinking I just want to let people know that I am thinking of it, or that I'm
Exactly.
aware of it, because too much of what's letting it happen is people trying to silence it and ignore it. So by acknowledging it in itself is an act of defiance against like media outlets and stuff. So it's important to do.
Love the way that it
Again, I used the freeze reverb here. We can hear it there, so
Yeah.
I wanna above it.
I'm not gonna lie as well. I vividly remember rushing to work song. Yeah, like running on, like it's often as well because like West Worthing is infamous. The crossing's always going down. So I see all these people waiting, and I'm gonna run underneath while listening to
Yeah.
Death. And it's great. Yeah.
I'll never leave this room. I'll never leave this room. Mom's falling apart in this room.
This is probably the heaviest use of double kick in the entire album. as
Right.
well.
I'd say so. I think the only two songs that I had noted was Death and Fire.
Yeah.
I use on the other, but not.
Not as nice.
But in the, as I was saying earlier, like my skills double kick when it's, but you can kind of hear it in the chorus. And I actually play it differently. Instead of playing
Oh yeah,
I did
I think I
that.
noticed that in some of the
yeah, so I thought that was kind of better. So
love these lyrics come up.
I live inside your head. I'm not counting all your miles. 'Cause you're scared, 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 you're scared.
That's kind of like the first part of like the whole album where like I was kind of trying to show like I can actually sing.
I mean, it's honestly the power on those vocals is
Yeah,
incredible.
There's so much distortion on them as well.
I love that.
cranked it,
I love
yeah.
it. And the solo here is so original as well. And am I right? It's thinking that it goes and die, die.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
and gone?
and gone?
Yeah.
Nice.
The it actually has no relation to the other song in the album, but
But it's a nice little.
yeah, I specifically, because it's obviously like very on beat, so there would be 8 repetitions. I specifically did 5 repetitions of Dead and then 3 of Gone, just again to subvert expectations.
That's gone
a
then.
little
It's not
bit.
because I always thought it was die,
No,
die.
no, Death and Gone.
Got death and gone. Brilliant.
I remember when we first released this one, my uncle called me and said he thought that the solo was a riff, and he said you should just repeat it a few more times. And I was just like, no, it's kind of a solo, so it's meant to be like one.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that solo is so original. Okay, next track is Complicated. Now there's definitely some, in terms of the themes, because there's definitely some brilliant like lyrics in this. Well, where did this one come from? Is this? Did you say this is quite an early one?
This was so early. This
Right.
was one that originally came from Petrol. So this was originally one that another member of Petrol had come to me with the riff. So our bassist Ellis had come with a sort of similar riff, but it didn't move anywhere. But it didn't really go anywhere. So the first riff, that's Ellis's inspiration there, but he showed it and then like left the band within sort of like a week, and then the night that he left the band was straight after a Battle of the Bands
that
thing.
gig, yeah.
And then after he left, the rest of us were the same night. We're just like, shall we call it quits, figure out different stuff to try out. But yeah, so then I kind of kept playing around with the riff and found different places I could go to, and I changed it slightly. But yeah, so that's where the inspiration for it came from. I'm struggling to remember what the lyrics are off the top of my head. A lot of complications.
I can't really
Too
remember.
many train stations.
Too many train stations. Yeah, there's
Is
too
that one
many of them. There's some train stations which don't need to exist. Why does East Worthing have a train
I
station?
always say that.
East Worthing doesn't even.
Why didn't you just split Worthing up into two?
Yeah.
And just,
Why not just have?
I think it
Worthing-
was because East Worthing was where the industrial states are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's there.
Yeah, and then also that was relatively soon after I talk about this train. I've told you about this Southeast train
Oh, yeah.
station. Oh my god, what a shambles of a train station. Someone please renovate it. There's a level crossing. It's literally a random station in the middle of nowhere. It's like 2 stations away from Peacehaven Harbour.
Yeah.
Or New Haven Harbour. I can't remember which one it is. I get the havens mixed up. But it's got like, it doesn't even have like the cardboard spiky things at the end of the platform. You can
Oh, right.
you can
Really?
walk straight onto the
Wow.
tracks. It's got a ticket machine somehow, and the level crossing works on a system of there's a red light and a green light. If it's a green light, you can go, so you press a button and it lifts.
Oh,
and if it's
right.
a red light, you have to just wait in
Yeah.
the car. And there's literally like a kissing gate that you have to go through if you're walking, which I was. But yeah, I remember seeing Southeast Station and just being like, why is this here? No one lives here. There's no houses around it. The closest thing is a youth hostel. It's a train station for hikers only, which, you know, is fair enough as anything. But I just feel like there's a lot of things spread very far apart here, which you
Yeah.
could just put into one. But yeah. We have not played this in so long.
Have you ever played it live?
We have.
In the early days, yeah, they don't play anymore.
It's really fast.
Complications!
I love when the riff changes.
Complications! Complications!
Yeah, I think it's one bit at the end where it's the same riff, but then the drums do something different. I think. Listen.
Too many fucking train stations! Not enough good vibrations!
That was inspired by, so with Audioactive I used to go to a lot of their sessions, and the woman who used to send out emails right before the sessions just to remind people what's going on would always say something along the lines of come in, make some good vibrations
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Jake from Unorthodox, when I showed him it, he thought it was a reference to the Beach Boys, but it's not, because I don't listen to the Beach Boys.
Complications! 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 Complications!
like this.
Yeah, the drums are really well with the guitar here.
Really energetic.
Yeah, this was the first time I'd used like a lot of tremolo picking in a song. This is tiring to play, or was tiring to play. I could probably mash it up now, but it was really tiring.
Complications! 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 Complications!
Did you have gangbang?
Yeah. That's bit crushing, slowly coming in. Yeah, that's phased in bit crushing of literally just like the entire thing, I think.
Okay, so this next song is honestly one of my favorites.
Grump.
It's a brilliant song because it's one of the most simplest but the most genius riffs ever that I think I've heard.
Yeah, it was so after writing Glum, I was very happy with Glum, but like a few days later or like a week later or something, I realized like the creative sort of like inspiration that I'd gotten to write Glum, I had not worn thin yet. Like I still had that going, and I was like, I want to write another song in the same sort of vein. So I wrote a B-side to Glum, which ended up being called Grump, because we had a brief idea of just surprise releasing an EP called Glump with just Glum and Grump on it.
It's a bit weird because the intro is like you think it's a different time when it comes in. I think it's on a different beat.
This was one of my favourites to mix. It was really, really smooth to mix actually. The lyrics are very reminiscent of Fire. And
Yeah, totally. Bit there.
Some more gang vocals there.
Yeah.
that's literally about 5 people crowded around one mic, just screaming.
And I think on Bare Bones and Raw, there's a little weird bit where it just goes, Grump. Do you remember that? Who is that?
It'll be someone just like
That was fucking Jake.
yeah,
Round,
just like
Yeah, realistically.
Did you get this solo inspiration from Reapers?
Yeah.
I thought you did. 'Cause I remember you showed me that song.
Love the marching band.
Oh,
Yes, that's how we used
you
to
had
refer
that
to it.
idea,
Yeah, it's brilliant. That's
And with this one in Grump, we always, whenever it goes back to the original riff, we only ever do it 3 times. That's one to keep people on their feet, you know, obviously respect it, but also Nirvana do that one not.
Right.
They do riffs and repetitions in 3 for the same reason, to sort of catch people up.
I mean,
That ending, we just wanted to like absolutely beat it into the listeners' ears.
I always get that mixed up with the Song for the Dead.
Yeah.
It's like I always want to go into like the beat afterwards.
You could do a perfect transition.
That could be quite cool.
That's
to do.
a great idea.
Quite sick
Yeah.
to do live, actually.
That would be really
Yeah. But yeah. Glum.
All right, Glum. So this is quite a staple one.
Probably this, if there was to be one, this would you say this would be like the title track? This is not title track, but like this is, I'd say.
Is it your favorite track?
No.
It's not mine either, but I can totally see that it
kinda like
embodies
a flagship.
Yeah, exactly.
Song.
Yeah.
No, we've.
I think it's almost just become a bit of a joke.
And because we'd get requested for it every single
Really?
gig.
Yeah.
Like it's the one song that we would like have to play in order to actually get the crowd moving. Nowadays we don't have to do that, luckily. this just means it's slightly.
But it's a lot different to the original version, which I really liked. So different solo, right?
Yeah, so with the drumming on this, because obviously Liam did the first demo.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't copy it note for note, but I got a lot of inspiration from what he did. So I didn't write something in the original.
Right.
So it's a lot of the same things that. But then also I kind of.
The beat just.
Yeah.
I was bored when I wrote this.
Right,
I
wait.
was fully bored.
That was related to you then?
Yeah, that's Skinhead was relating to me because people have certain assumptions of a person. who are
Yeah,
bored,
yeah.
which weren't true in my case. But
I love this.
oh yeah, this was kind of like the most abrupt, awful way that I could possibly. I need to speak over that. It's like probably I was thinking of the most offensive way that I could talk about my own identity as a person. I won't repeat it, but you might need to.
Definitely powerful. Little backing vocal there. Yeah.
Yeah, the gang vocals are really clear and you can really hear who it is if you know the person.
I always think when listening back to these, I never had the hi-hat as open as it should have been. It almost sounds closed.
Yeah.
I don't even remember it sounding like that.
One of them is the actual solo, which is what I play live.
Yeah.
Which just is a bunch of random shit, which I eventually I would just improvise random stuff over it, and I eventually found things like, oh, I actually like the sound of this, I'll keep doing that whenever I play it. And then the other is me just improvising random stuff over the entire thing, and I put a really heavy phaser on it, and that's why it sounds like bubbly and shit.
Sounds really good though.
It kind of suits the name in a way.
And because now you said about the whole rioting. Yeah. Is it riot, please, or is it riot?
Riot, please.
Brilliant, because I always used to sing it that way in the sense of like that's how I thought it sounded, but I always thought it was riot, police.
No,
but
no.
Riot, please. It makes a lot more sense now. That's really interesting.
It was kind of like a.
Like they're trying to edge on the crowd, kind of.
Posh on this one. It's kind of like the dichotomy of having like such an order and such the idea of like riot, and then politely asking,
please just
guys.
riot.
It also is. I didn't write it with this intention, but thinking back on that is so reminiscent of so many bands we play with, where if you're on stage and you want people to mosh at your shows, you kind of have to order it. As the band on stage, you've got the authority. You kind of have to say, "You guys go crazy."
Yeah.
Whereas we've played with a lot of bands who kind of politely be like, guys, please, can we have more energy? And it's just like, you've got to put it out there.
So now we get a bit of a shift.
Stretch. So the Conversations was always intended as the transition track between heavy and soft.
And I got to ask, before we go into it, can you decipher what's said at the beginning?
I can remember what I said at the beginning because it's another spoken word.
Isn't this is the one with like has the really long intro?
Because
on
Bare Bones and Raw, I can hear what's going on.
Yeah.
But is that any different to what's being said here?
It's the same vocal tracks. It would have been
really?
changing
it's
the
just
effects.
You've just changed
I would
it.
have changed the effects on it. Yeah, no, it's the same. It's all the same vocal tracks. If you play it, I can decipher it. I used a crazy reverb on this. It's me repeating the words. I let the feelings flow a lot. So the last 4 tracks on here, the soft ones, are very inspired by Buddhist methodology. Methodism. Yeah, that's me just saying I let the feelings flow.
Yeah, I think we only played this. It was like we just didn't want to go through the whole like.
Yeah.
So long, and the solo is completely improvised. Or it was, and then I re-recorded it because I messed up a bit.
And you used to it was better.
That's me saying, and I always thought it was better to let the feelings flow.
Confirmation now.
Yeah.
Hair comes back. Maybe wrong.
Can't remember. Oh,
Almost,
this song,
kind
yeah.
of.
I remember. This is probably one of my favourite.
It's my favourite verse.
Yeah, I think the drum pattern in this. Where it does like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's like the kind of the group of 6 with it. Yeah, it's one of my favourite parts.
The verses on this I love. Yeah, the lyrics are about sort of moving on, or just sort of like getting past something, and then the chorus is just funny. Oh, it's kind of funny. That's awfully out of tune.
What was that being said there? 'Cause-
Cornflakes to melt the pain away. Kind of like comfort food reference.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a reference to comfort food, but it's weird because cornflakes have never been comfort food.
Yeah, well,
ever.
they will be now.
Yeah.
So honestly, to my ears, it's so well produced. Sounds so good.
Give all the credit to Cleo because you mixed it all. Yeah, it does sound good.
What's that lyric there?
Turn to Buddhism to deal with you. I'm looking inwards to find my peace.
I love
But
that. Looking
nothing
inwards
helps
to find
release.
the peace. Oh, that's brilliant. I do love tracks like this that are just completely utterly honest.
Yeah.
Like, there's no kind of like
This-
putting up yourself. It's
yeah,
completely
I wasn't trying
transparent.
to go metaphorical. I just wanted to say how it was.
Yeah, cornflakes. You know,
Yeah.
it's the way it is.
Might have the kind of snare in this. Is it the end? Can't remember if I
4
know
minutes
this
30. Yeah, I think it is. Oh no, Gossamer.
Gossamer's
Course,
longer
yeah.
than this. What? I would not have thought that.
one.
The new Gossamer isn't that long. Gossamer
Right.
Softened, I don't
Interesting.
think is that
Yeah,
long.
'cause drums come in a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Kind of. Or is there might be.
I'm actually speaking here as well. So just saying I let the feelings flow, but it's really
Really
swirled
so in the
So
background.
if you hear like the ethereal sort of swirling thing, that's my voice. Yeah. Underrated track on.
Very
Yeah,
underrated.
definitely.
This whole section, you know, everyone's raving about Glum, but they're missing out on this.
Yeah. The
I think that group of especially Gone, really like it's kind of nostalgic to when we all recorded it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. They're like when I hear I'm like it just like brings me back.
That's
to, like,
nice. That's
the
really
first
nice.
year in college. And,
Yeah.
like,
we don't play these songs enough to
I
be
know.
honest.
That's the thing, guys.
The problem is some of them are in standard tuning, which means
Oh,
I
right.
can't play them
Yeah.
anymore
Yeah.
because my guitar, if I tune it to standard, this bottom string will snap because it's too tight. So I can only play the ones which are in drop D, which are Gossamer. The new Gossamer is in drop D. That original was in standard, but I just
Right,
had to
got it.
rewrite it because I couldn't not play Gossamer. Gone
Yeah.
is in drop D. Longing is in standard. Conversations is in drop D. No, it's not. It's in standard. And then the rest of the album's in drop D. But except for Alone, I think Alone's also.
No idea.
Alone, I think, is standard as well. But yeah, so
Right.
there's some songs which I literally can't play anymore just because the tuning conflicts.
Shame. You should
Yeah.
have 2 guitars. Just put it out there.
It might be happening at some
Yeah.
point. I do
'Cause-
need a
Wait.
backup because if this one ever breaks, I'm stuffed. Because this is one of a kind. Because I've just makeshifted it so much. It's cool until it breaks. If it
Yeah.
it shouldn't break because I've done
you
a
can't
decent
really like
job.
buy one. That's,
I can't
you can
buy
buy a
another one
baritone.
that's-
But
But it's not
Yeah.
going to be the same. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, right.
Longing.
Longing. Now, in terms of-
This is I think my favorite soft track
right.
on
Interesting.
the album. It's a
Interesting.
bit of
Hard to
a
listen to it to remember. I like the kind of layered guitar there as well.
Brilliant. It's so delicate as well. Which
yeah. That's one of the reasons I like it so much. I do wish I could re-record the vocals on it, but I wish that on all of the songs. So.
I'm away, stay and see until I think you can know I can trust you if I try.
Actually, the vocals in this aren't that bad.
You try.
And you're always like self-critical with your own voice though anyway.
Vocals are like a really self-critical instrument. Everyone's really self-critical with their vocals.
You go right through me.
To be fair to me, I did the vocals for the entire album in one day, sat in a booth.
What?
I did doubles and stuff later on and gang vocals later on, but I did the lead vocals for each song in one day.
Wow.
So I did the soft ones last for some reason. So
That's why you
is my
finished at
voice.
FMP so quick.
Yeah, that is my voice after recording
Wow.
the screaming vocals on all of the other ones. So that's why it sounds so gruff.
That's kind of cool, actually, when you think about it. When you're going through the
Yeah.
album, and it's essentially you're going on a journey with you.
My
It's-
voice was strained, but yeah, no. That Longing was the last song I recorded vocals for.
Oh yeah. Chorus is really good. That guitar.
Yeah.
Stay away, leave me here. I'm much better without tears, I think at least.
These are some of my favourite lyrics on the entire album as well.
Can't you die another night? It's really inconvenient.
What was that one there? 'Cause
Can't You Die Another Night? It's really inconvenient to try songs. Wait, if you play, would you be able to play it again? Because I've forgotten the second half of that. Might be a bit further back. Oh yeah, okay, no, it's Can't You Die Another Night? It's really inconvenient to lie tonight. I say I'm fine. That's not referring to a person dying. That's referring to like a relationship or a connection dying.
Yeah.
Between someone.
I mean, the vocals are brilliant in terms of how like straining it is.
This is also the most personal song on the album, actually. The rest of the softer songs actually were not written when I was like in a place of like actually feeling lonely or sad or difficult. But this one was. So this one was written before all the other ones. But yeah, no, it's personal.
Sit around, stay a while. I know I feel what you can't find. I feel love, but not enough.
This pit was This bit was improvised while we were recording.
Hey. Wow. So next we've got Gone. It's one of those ones that when I first listened to it, I genuinely felt that kind of feeling of like when you listen to music, you kind of soul leaves your body. I had that twice with this song, and I'll highlight 2 points that I had this because the way it kicks in is one of my favorite. Like,
oh yeah.
the
This guitar tone, I don't know how I achieved either. This is the this is the sort of glassy tubular thing that the P90s I was telling you about, the pickups I was using.
the delicate drum.
Yeah, it feels so like the guitar tone feels like spherical, if you get what I mean.
That sounds like a DJ.
Yeah,
Scratch. Yeah.
yeah, it's brilliant. And the riff here as well, it's that.
Yeah.
That's the first time my soul leaves my body. It's those backing vocals
I remember when you recorded that.
every single time.
It was the most like awkward thing to record. Because we were all just standing outside the room while he was recording that. Oh yeah, but because you didn't want anyone to like.
Yeah,
Because it was such a high.
Because at that time I wasn't comfortable using my falsetto, which I'm still. I would be more comfortable recording it now, but I'm not great at it.
But these backing vocals.
Yeah, I did manage it. The most fun recording vocals for this song.
Yeah, they're
That
really.
chorus is fun to sing.
Please a beg, a lover feels another's breath.
That's the second time right there. With
Yeah.
that guitar wail,
That's again.
it's
freeze
amazing.
Reverb.
It's
Freeze reverb is so good.
good.
I love the vocal there as well.
Just kind of riffing.
Yeah, that's one of the most like beautiful solos.
It is. I love that with the bass drum.
Yeah.
Works so
Yeah. I think it's a lot better than just going straight into it.
exactly. It's a. Love it.
Because there's no like guitar in that bit either.
Exactly, yeah.
Let me down, breathe the air from the mouth.
Yeah.
I think it works quite well to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
There's
just,
that slight backing vocal.
Souls are gone.
yeah.
Another drop in the pond.
And also because you were saying earlier how you record them all in one day anyway. It kind of adds the effect of like.
Falsettos
Yeah.
recorded separately.
Of course, yeah.
From the mouth.
There's a lot of reverb on the guitars here.
Until you I can breathe.
The vocals in this the lyrics are quite good as well. That lyric was I'll never leave until you're all I can breathe. That one I do like that lyric. But I can't say it came from a genuine place because it was just a general feeling of
Exactly. And some.
not a general feeling. It was just a song about a general feeling of loneliness that I wasn't feeling at the time, but I wanted to write about. I wrote them. I was like quite happy at the time of writing a lot of them.
Yeah.
the next one, Gossamer. I literally wrote Gossamer with my boyfriend at the time was literally lying right behind
Really?
me, and I wrote the whole song. And obviously, the song is about like loneliness, sadness, all that stuff. It's mainly about like just general fragility, or just
Yeah.
like the essence of being fragile. And they said, "Oh, can I have a read of the lyrics?" And they had a read of the lyrics, and they got annoyed with me. But
Well, yeah.
I can understand why.
I can say right now, this has my favorite lyric in the whole album, and possibly my favorite moment in the whole album. You'll probably know what it is when we get to it,
Maybe I'm trying to think of.
but I'll point it out. But it genuinely is.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
Of what I think it is.
I've changed the lyrics for this so much. I have a rewriting of the lyrics which I've never put into a song. Still saved on my phone, so I have a new version of the lyrics if I ever wanted to do it.
I can just say as well, this is genuinely one of my favorite songs ever. At this point, it's on my playlist on Spotify, which is it's called James's Best Track Picks, and I just take every single of my favorite songs. And also a bit of background history. This appears at the end of my short film I Block, and
It does indeed.
And honestly, I can say a bit of history about it. When I was writing I Block, I had Alone in mind for the chase scene, which is quite interesting.
Right.
And I found that Alone was too cool for the chase scene, because the chase scene's not meant to be like an action scene. It's meant to be quite an almost horror moment. Yeah. I ended up scoring that whole bit with just using a sound effect of a drill, which was actually captured on the day of set, which is
that's really cool.
But I knew I wanted some of your guys' music in it, because it and when I was realizing how well Gossamer would work in terms of end credits music, I really, really wanted it, and I'm so glad you guys allowed me to use it. Because
I remember when you messaged me, because I told George, because we saw you had the poster for it on the bulletin board right outside the music
and it says
area. It was really
featuring
cool.
Gossamer. Film would not work without this song.
Genuinely, so much,
the
man.
ending, and also it's at the beginning of the film.
Yeah,
so it kind of works as a perfect bookend.
Like cyclical.
Yeah, I'm interested about the title.
The title Gossamer. A friend got annoyed at me. You don't actually know this? No. I don't think I've talked about this before. No, a friend got annoyed at me. I've got a friend of mine who's very, very much into literature called Megs. They go to this college now. They're the year below. I met them through Audioactive. And they just randomly said in like a group chat one day, guys, I just thought of an awesome word, but you guys aren't allowed to use it because I thought of it. So the word was gossamud, as in
so
to gossamer something, gossamer. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's a brilliant name. And it reminded me that the word gossamer exists, which isn't the same word.
Yeah.
But anyway, I asked them about it, and they were annoyed at me at first, and then they were like, oh, that's fine, don't worry.
Such a good title.
That's like massively low passed, and then there's a trick that I learned at Audioactive. It makes it sound almost underwater, and then you can fade it.
Fades in. It honestly, the way this song blends in.
I think the first time we were rehearsing this song, I started this bit with the rim of the snare,
right,
of the head of it, so it sounded even softer. And then I obviously went into the snare.
I'll pull on you like a thread, I'll love until my head melts, eyes leak and turning red. I think I'd rather be in bed.
All those lyrics.
This is a really fun song to write lyrics to, because it's all the same rhyme and it's a good amount of syllables.
Can't sustain what's left, not even after my bed.
These are my favourite lyrics.
Leaving leaves me to fester. I think I'd rather be in bed.
Well, then, those might have been the ones before.
Yes.
Which I treated as sort of like a bass track in this, even though I don't actually, there's no bass system.
I think
Okay, I did actually get goosebumps at that time, but I always used to when I first started listening to it. Every single time that moment happened.
It's because it's a really good tuning in B, or in this would have been in B standard. That's a really good tuning for my vocals. Whereas live now, in the tuning that my guitar's currently in, I can't get that high.
Yeah. But yeah, when we recorded the softened version, it's a different.
Just having noise is like
a refrain.
And I love the dynamics of this song.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how it kind of builds up to the chorus.
I think this might be the end.
And then at the end, it kind of just like release.
I think I'd rather know.
There's me riffing around on a bass guitar here, actually. Oh yeah, no, I do.
Oh yeah,
lie.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah, so I actually wanted it to sound so tubular and soft that I doubled the guitar part on my guitar with just an actual bass guitar, and I wasn't treating it like a bass. I was just playing the guitar part on the bass.
Right, got it.
Because it had a really nice tone.
I'm used to bleeding by now, though I don't understand how. I might be spinning around, who knows? Gossamer, I think.
Yeah, my favourite bit of the song is when you say Gossamer.
Gossamer.
That's my favourite bit.
Or the
This whole
spinning
song.
around bit as well. I mean, there's so much going on just in that bit. I'm used to bleeding by now. I don't understand how. It's amazing.
So the lyrics there at the end of that, I know looking inward is supposed to help me change. That's about meditation and how I was really struggling with it at the start of trying to do it.
Yeah, and you related to looking inward to some of the other tracks.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I love this bit because when we play it live, I always just try and put it like meant.
Yeah, and I've changed the solo now as well.
Yeah.
All right,
So
yeah.
the solo's different. So the solo that I wrote for the new version of this was actually inspired a lot by the solo for Gone,
Right.
because it's got a sweep picking section.
Right here as well.
That's the same as the intro, just the reverse.
It's a masterpiece.
And then it slides up.
Love
to
that,
the,
love that
yeah,
little
slides up to the final note of the whole album.
That's incredible, guys. Wow.
I was going to say real quick, on the Nirvana Sumac, there was, I always think of this, there was actually one song that we didn't include in it. Remember?
What?
There was a song we got rid of.
What song was that?
I've not.
Oh no, there was.
Do you remember?
Yes, there was
I
another
have no
soft
idea
one.
what it was.
Really?
There was another
Okay.
soft song which sounded too similar to Longing.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
right.
So we
we just got
scrapped
rid of
it.
it.
Okay.
But
Um,
we'd recorded it, and
we
I don't know if we
had-
still have it.
I
but,
don't have it anywhere. I've deleted all the
Yeah,
old files.
but,
What?
we
But yeah, so there's
lost
one,
track.
There's one
'Cause
hidden
we-
song.
I-
that's
Oh
just
no,
we
like,
didn't really-
I'm gonna lose sleep over
we
that,
didn't
guys.
really bother mixing it. We had it in the recording session,
Yeah,
so we
and I
literally
thi-
had a massive project.
I think
Yeah.
what it was we
yeah.
were recording it. We did a few takes. We were gonna do a few more takes, and we were just like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
And then
we
it
looked
kinda
at each
just-
other
Yeah.
just like, shall we
Fair
skip this one?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Um,
I mean, it works perfectly as an album. I mean, if you're considering Fire Sign and Fire together, you got a solid 13 track album, which is
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
incredible. It's a proper
we were
album,
trying
and
to go
you've
for a good length of it. Yeah.
exactly, and it's such a satisfying listen all in one go.
Yeah. So our new track is called K3
Oh, no, yeah.
FECN6
Yes.
Rapture. We just call it Rapture because that is a mouthful.
And how
But
come there's this whole like
That
serial
is
number?
the chemical formula for a type of cyanide.
Which you
Um,
will find out.
Yeah, of
the,
course.
If
Yeah,
you-
without
Yeah.
spoiling
If
too
you look
much.
through all of our old posts on Instagram, it's all the captions have been changed to say something like boredom cyanide, something like that. But yeah, so it's a formula for cyanide. It's gonna we've got a few more songs with formulas for cyanide
Yeah.
at the start of it.
That's
and,
awesome.
It's very inspired by Heavy is the Head, which falls with the weight of a
Well,
thousand
yeah,
thoughts,
1,000
by
Thoughts, yeah.
Loathe, which is a long song title, but it's again a sort of it's more metal oriented with Loathe, but it's like shoegazy-ish.
Yeah, I like the blend with this
kick.
track you got going here.
So then this new one is the first. So for people who aren't maybe so tech savvy in terms of music, you produce music on what are called DAWs, which are digital audio workspaces. So we are currently recording this interview on Apple's one called Logic. I used to use this. I used this on Nirvana and Sumac. Rapture is the first song that I've mixed since switching to Ableton, which is one which is more geared towards DJs, EDM.
Right.
It's got a very, very on-time grid sort of function and a lot of very, very powerful effects, which I really enjoy using. So this track is very, or it should be very on beat. So yeah, this opening is just me playing the chords, but it's really, really high pass, so all of the low frequencies have been completely taken out, and then when it goes into it, the low frequencies sort of like drop back in, and it's a cool build up to the actual.
Unless you don't double kick the whole song.
Yeah,
it's
I
just
can
like
notice.
all the way through.
Yeah.
And then the only break he gets is in the chorus,
Yeah.
last beat. There's a bass track that comes in
Yeah, I
there.
just noticed that. Yeah.
So this is literally just two vocal tracks with hard pan
Right.
side, which if they're kind of the same until they aren't, and then that creates like a mono sort of sound, but it's not.
Love the melody.
That word there is disemboweled. Is that an actual word? But it's not many people know what it means. It means the flow of a river out in an estuary or out to sea. So to disembowel is to float out to sea from a river. This is a very marching band.
Yeah, you're marching. Kind of
Yeah.
snare here.
I'm just playing a bunch of harmonics. It's kind of just like a bunch of noise building up.
Yeah.
I think it perfectly leads on from what's to come.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's I'd like to say that's the direction we're going in. That's not what we're
Yeah, no.
doing in terms of the next one. However, I did mention all the drum tracks I've got saved up. I will be working on them, so there will be some more shoegaze stuff coming.
So is that the kind of, in terms of your musical direction now? Because that is a lot different in terms of both producing and the style
Yeah.
than Nirvana and Sumac. So what is the direction you're wanting to go in? And how is this kind of like, what made you realise that you want to go in this?
Well, I think because it's more of a hardcore
Yeah.
metalcore direction. We get inspiration from bands like Knock Loose
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's what's kind of inspired us to make what we're working on now.
Yeah.
You know, it is a lot different from what we've done so far. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what the reaction is.
Because we still obviously are massive fans of like shoegaze, and I still listen to a bunch of punk and like post punk and stuff. So we wanted to just sort of like go much more extreme with it all though. So the shoegaze, as you just heard, we're really, really going shoegaze, but also like that is a genre called black gaze, which is black metal mixed with shoegaze.
Right.
So that's where the double kick element sort of comes
So
in.
yeah, that's why I found like there's the
Yeah.
blending of kind of what you had before and then.
Yeah, it's and then we're kind of heading in two directions at the same time. We're going very, very metalcore with what we're working on in secret, and
Yes.
then I guess some sort of short projects that I'll be doing and working on. George in college will probably be more all the shoegazy stuff that we've
Awesome,
got saved
so-
up, because we've got about 4 shoegaze tracks saved up,
Wow.
about 4 of them.
And have you played them all live or they?
Oh,
no,
we've
we
never
haven't
played
played
any
any.
of them,
Wow.
but
Oh, very exciting.
more to come.
Yeah, just there's stuff that we've done so far with all the new stuff. That it's just some of it. I'm just like, this is insane.
Some of
Like, that's-
George's drums fills.
There's some stuff which is like, it's exciting.
That's really
Yeah.
good that you're that excited.
Yeah, people will start seeing like sneak.
Yeah, we'll have
peeks.
some teasers.
Yeah,
soon.
people can start following the breadcrumb trails. Yeah, if people want to sort of like get a idea of what we're doing before we officially announce it, all eyes to the internet, I guess, guys. Keep an eye on it.
And concert gigs.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely
We're,
promote-
we're organising a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
We're meeting a lot of metal bands from up north. We recently played in
Right.
Leicester with Silent Confidant, Space Between, and Assimilate. We're
Awesome.
getting all of them down to Brighton again at some
Right.
point, so that we, or not again, like so that we can play gigs with them, and then we'll be doing they'll be doing the reverse, getting us up
Yeah, yeah,
north.
yeah.
We may be doing a show in Nottingham at some point
Yeah.
with Silent Confidant, hopefully, because Nottingham's got a really, really good metal scene. We want to do more gigs in Eastbourne. We're trying to spread all
That's
over.
brilliant.
Stuff everywhere.
I mean, you've
Yeah.
progressed a lot in just a year.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, you're
definitely.
Yeah, no,
really amazing how much you've done.
But yeah, no, we've got a lot of new stuff coming. A lot of shows coming up. Next gig, 2nd of April. Dalton's. We're playing with
Yes.
Mashed and Blue Bottles. It's gonna be really, really good. And then there's Unorthodox as well. It'll be good. People should come to that if they're listening. Or if
Definitely.
this comes out before then.
We'll
If
see.
this doesn't come out
Yeah.
before then
Then we got one on 9th of May. which you
9th
can
of
come to.
May.
And if it doesn't come out before then we got one on 5th of July.
If it doesn't come
Okay,
out
you're all
before,
set. You're all set.
yeah, if it doesn't come out before May, we're doing something wrong. It will come
Yeah.
out before May.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thanks a lot. I mean,
Thanks
this
so much
was
for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
this is something I've been wanting to do for a while now. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
great to
We've been talking about this for quite
Yeah.
a while.
brilliant. I mean, it's great to just hear so much inside, behind the scenes stuff essentially.
Yeah, we've got a lot of large, like much bigger than usual projects coming up. So it's ones which specifically you might be excited about. I'm not gonna say any more than that, but
Maybe off air, maybe.
huh?
Maybe off air.
No.
No.
Oh, maybe off air, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But
I can wait. It's okay.
it would be really, really good to do this
Do
again.
this again,
When,
yeah,
when that's-
definitely.
when
I
those
mean,
get,
Definitely.
That'd be
get
great.
finalized.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for listening.